gathered in his name, there is love. There is love. Will a man shall leave his mother, and a woman leave her home? They shall travel on to where the two shall be as one. As it was in the beginning, is now until the end. Woman draws her life from man and gives it back again, and there is love. Well, then what's to be the reason for becoming man and wife? Is it love that brings you here?
Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It is there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will bring you home. Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. Even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some is strong as steel. For some a way of living, for some a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of change, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. You through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some is strong as steel. For some a way of living, for some a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of change, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you.
One look at you, my whole life falls in line. I prayed for you.
Friends and family, on behalf of the Solis family and the Anderson family, we welcome you. We have guests from as far away as Maine, and with the internet, who knows? Please be seated. I can't help but to believe there's joy not only at Camelback, but in heaven today. Kimberly and Joshua, if my wedding was any indication, you guys aren't going to remember a single thing I say today. And that's fine, that's why we have video. So someday sit down and listen and take from it what you need to and what you want to. Just now, look in each other's eyes, and I'll speak to all these other people out here, so just don't worry about it. You guys are now one. In Ephesians 5, Paul says, "Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church." Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. One flesh, one body, or you might say one team. Joshua, what does Paul mean when he says that you are now the head of Kimberly? Are you the boss? Is she your servant?
No.
Definitely not. Being the head of your marriage means you're now responsible for your relationship with her. The head is important, but it can't function without the rest of the body. I'm reminded of a scene from the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. But in that movie, a young Greek woman from a traditional Greek American family is marrying a modern American male. And the whole reason the movie is funny is the contradiction between the two communities. And Tula, the bride, was torn between the modern and the traditional. And her father was very much stuck in his ways that the man was the head of the house. And so before the wedding, Tula's mom counseled her and said, yes, the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck. And the neck can move the head any way she wants. So, Kimberly, submitting to Joshua does not mean you are submissive. You are a strong neck that supports this marriage, and you're an equal part of that marriage. 1 Peter 3:7 gives us some instruction. It says, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life. One team, two teammates. Someday you may draft some other teammates, but no rush, we'll wait. Now, I spoke about a team, and I'm sorry, I'm into sports. This is what you get when you ask me to be the efficient. How do individuals join together and become a team? And I'm reminded of a story from 1980, way before your time. And at that point, the Winter Olympics were coming around, and the United States needed a coach for their hockey team. And they chose Herb Brooks. Herb Brooks was in charge of taking a group of college all-stars and molding them into a team. Just a few weeks before the Olympics, these guys were fighting against each other for the NCAA championship. And he couldn't really figure out how to get them to come together as a team. Most of the rest of the world had been together for years. The Russian team had been together for over a decade, and they were the world champions. He had just a couple of months to mold these individuals into a team. So he started breaking up practice, and in the middle of practice, and I see Greg out there, he's a coach, so he kind of understands some of these psychological things that the coaches will do. And he'd stop practicing and say, hey, 23, who are you and who do you skate for? And 23 would say, I'm Dave Christian, North Dakota. They'd keep practicing. A few minutes later, he'd stop and he'd say, hey, 17, who are you? I'm Jack O'Callahan from Boston University. So this occurred all throughout the Olympic tryouts, the Olympic practices, and right up to just before the Olympics. The U.S. then had a practice game against a weaker Norwegian team. They didn't play as a team. They played much as individuals. And they ended in a tie when they should have beaten this team. And Coach Brooks decided it was time to teach them a lesson. So while the Norwegians were showering and the rest of the fans were leaving the arena, he had them line up at the end of the rink to do wind sprints. Or that's what we used to call them in basketball, but I think they call them bag skates in hockey. So they started behind one net. They had to skate out to the red line, back, out to the blue line at the middle of the rink and back, out to the red line and back, and out to the other net and back. And each time he would do the same thing. Hey, number 10, who are you? And who do you skate for? Mark Johnson, Minnesota. The whistle would blow, they would do another bag skate. This continued for a long time, and the other coaches were beginning to wonder what was going on. Finally, after what seemed to be 100 bag skates, he yelled out, hey, number 21, who are you and who do you skate for? Number 21 could hardly speak with all, not being able to catch his breath, and with sweat in his eyes, he said, I'm Micah Ruzioni, I skate for the United States. The coach blew 2 whistles, the bag skates were over, and at that point, he taught the team that the name on the front of their jersey was more important than the name on the back of their jersey. And the rest of the story goes on as the miracle on ice, and they won the gold medal. So now you guys are one flesh, one body, one team. Anderson is the name on the front of your jersey, and Kimberly and Josh are the name on the back of your jersey. And Kimberly, no one exemplified team first spirit more than your dad. He was always willing to help everyone out. Sorry. They told me to give these for you, but they were really for me. So if you need them, you have to find your own. Sorry. So he and you together built this beautiful arch that we're standing in front of, and there probably isn't a person out there that he didn't help. You and your mom were his major league team, but the rest of us were part of his team. So use your father's relationship, and Josh used the relationship between your father and your mother, and I know you only knew Chris for a short period of time, but use what you saw, his love for Janine, to build the best team possible. Now, what about the role of the neck or the woman? We have some instruction from Solomon from almost 3,000 years ago. And you might think, what can instruction from 3,000 years ago, how could that benefit us today? But Solomon was pretty wise, and I think his wisdom stands the test of time. He says that a modern woman seeks wisdom, is honest, serves others, is faithful, is disciplined, is virtuous, seeks the Lord, stays humble, stays diligent, is self-controlled, and is strong. Now, as a father of 2 young women, I'd like to emphasize strength. A strong neck can easily support a head and help him in that relationship. So what constitutes a good team? Sorry, I got another sports story. The 1927 Yankees are considered to be the best team ever in any sport, and they were led by Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. They had 6 Hall of Famers, and their coach went on to become a Hall of Fame coach. They averaged that year batting .307. They won 110 games out of 154. They averaged 2 more runs per game than the rest of the other teams that they played, and they easily swept the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0 in the World Series. Yet the team was not made up of only Hall of Famers. It had 11 players who had less than 5 years of experience in the majors. They had 2 rookies. Babe Ruth made an unheard of salary of $70,000 that year but the rest of them made less than $20,000, and most made about $2,000 to play baseball. So how did it become the best team ever? It took a collection of stars, average players, role players, and rookies with a common goal and purpose to make that greatest team ever. So, while you are now one flesh and one team, you are each individuals. So please celebrate that individuality, and it will make your team stronger. You guys met online, chatted at first, and found out that you enjoyed some similar things. After a few dates just to get introduced, you found out that you both enjoyed hiking, kayaking, and martial arts. I even hear that there was a ropes course involved, and I guess Josh is not so fond of heights, so. But anyway, you guys found a lot of things that you loved doing, and those hobbies you share brought you together and will keep you together. Almost every wedding sermon includes passages from 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter. But I'd like to go back one chapter before. In chapter 12, Paul, speaking of Christ's team, says that it takes all kinds, each diverse individual, to have a truly successful team. Verse 7 says, each one of the gifts is given for the common good. Therefore, we all have differing gifts, and each gift is absolutely necessary to make a good team. So while I'm sure that your similarities and common likes initially attracted you to each other, the way to a great marriage or team is to encourage each other's hopes, dreams, and be individuals. So while the name on the front of your jersey is important, the name on the back of your jersey is still important as well. Your similarities and your differences will make you a stronger team. Now, most teams have rules. Your team only has 2 rules. In Mark 12, Christ says, your rules for your team are love God with all your heart and love your teammate as yourself. Abiding by these 2 rules will make yours a special team for now and into eternity. In closing, I will quote 1 Corinthians 13 because it just seems so important and appropriate. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Teamwork does indeed make the dream work. Today, God has made you one team, a very special team. Embrace being part of the team. Love each other with a love that indeed never fails, and use the examples of both Chris's lives and others you know to build the strongest team possible. Look out there in the stands. These are your fans. And as it is, you apparently have fans all over the world since we're on the web again. And these are not bandwagon fans. These are not fair weather fans. These fans will be with you forever. And as true fans, we promise to support your team through thick and thin, and don't hesitate to use that support whenever you need. One flesh, one team. So Kimberly and Joshua will now exchange their vows, and since this is my first and probably last time I am a wedding officiant, I'm both excited and relieved that they've chosen to write their own personal vows. So, Joshua, what's that? You have yours. It's your turn to let the world know your promise to Kimberly in taking her as your wife.
Kimberly Joella Solis, when it came time to write my vows, I was nervous I wouldn't be able to find the words to accurately express my love and devotion for you. But I found the words came easier than I expected as I started to write. These last 16 months with you have been some of the best of my entire life. The days have gone by so fast with you because of how much fun we've had together. From our stays in Flagstaff to sliding down hills at 50 miles per hour in Utah. You have taught me how to have fun and be in the moment. I cannot wait to see what other adventures we go on and hopefully take our future children on. Teammates. I am constantly in awe of your courageous spirit and desire to do dangerous things like skydiving and bungee jumping. And while I can guarantee I'll be there with you every step of the way, I'll be honest and admit I'm trembling on the inside. Kimmy, I admire your tenacity and ability to live life to its fullest and never let anything hold you back. You are the most beautiful, most wonderful woman in the world. To me, your beauty is the most radiant light I have ever seen, and I consider myself the luckiest man in the world because I get to wake up next to you every single day. You have shown me that there is so much beauty in this world and that I am lucky enough to have a piece of it for my own. And I know these last few weeks have been some of the toughest that we've ever faced together. And while I know tough days are still ahead, I vow to you that I will always give you my shoulder to cry on, my sleeve to wipe your tears, my arms to comfort you, and my ears to always listen to you. I know life won't be the same without your dad, but I promise you that I will be there for you every step of the way, and I will never stop loving you. He was an incredible man, and I vow with every part of my being to try and live up to the man he was. I'll consider myself lucky if I become even half the man he was. Kimmy, I will love you, cherish you, support you, honor, and respect you for the rest of my life. I love you.
It's my turn. Okay.
Sorry, it's a little sweaty.
Kimberly, now it's your turn.
Oh, dear. Okay.
You want me to hold the mic?
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you. Okay. Joshua James Anderson. God has blessed me with you in my life. You're not only an answer to my prayers, but my parents as well. I have chosen you to stand by your side and sleep in your arms, to laugh with you, cry with you, and grow with you, even as time and life changes us both. The last month has been so hard, and you have been very supportive through it all, giving me a shoulder to cry on or hugging me so tight to mask the pain of my broken heart. Life is not fair. It is tough and difficult, but I know that God will give us the strength to conquer anything together. I promise to be faithful and supportive of your dreams. I promise to respect our differences and to be there in sickness and in health. I love you and will be by your side forever and always. Joshua, you are the love of my life, and I cannot wait to go and explore the world and experience life together with you. My dad was so excited for this important day in our lives, and despite this significant loss, I find comfort in one of my favorite hymns. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. I stand here without fear for today, tomorrow, or the future. For whatever the future has in store for us, I pray we continue to strengthen our relationship, not only with God, but with us as a newly married couple. For there is nothing more powerful than God's love for us and the love and commitment we have for each other. The Bible talks about how no one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is perfected in us. For there is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out our fear. With that being said, Joshua, I love you, and I will continue to love you until the day I die.
Take that. I can take that. Kimberly and Joshua have also chosen to exchange rings. Rings are an outward symbol to the world of an inner holy bond which unites two hearts in endless love. Just as a circle is unbroken and can be traced infinitely, so is each other's love for their spouse unending and eternal. The ancient Egyptians started putting wedding rings on their fourth finger of their left hand. They believed that that was the only finger whose vein went directly to and encircled the heart. Well, as an orthopedic surgeon, I can tell you they didn't know anything about anatomy. But the symbolism is still special. The ring symbolizes one's love and commitment to their spouse that connects directly to and encircles the heart. Joshua, repeat after me. Kimberly, with this ring, I declare to heaven and earth.
Kimberly, with this ring, I declare to heaven and earth
that I give you my heart.
that I give you my heart.
I promise from this day forward,
I promise from this day forward,
you shall not walk alone.
you shall not walk alone.
May my heart be your shelter,
May my heart be your shelter,
and my arms be your home.
and my arms be your home.
My love for you will never end,
My love for you will never end,
from now and into eternity,
from now until eternity,
just as this ring is unbroken.
just as this ring is unbroken.
You can place the ring on Kimberly's finger. Kimberly,
Oh,
I'll hold it for you. Repeat after me. Joshua, with this ring,
Joshua, with this ring,
I promise you my heart's devotion.
I promise you my heart's devotion.
I promise you a smile to chase away your sorrows.
I promise you a smile to chase away your sorrows.
I promise you a love that is true and unending.
I promise you a love that is true and unending.
I promise you a hand to hold yours through each and every tomorrow.
I promise you a hand to hold yours through today and tomorrow.
Perfect. My love for you will never end,
My love for you will never end,
from now and into eternity,
from now and into eternity,
just as this ring is unbroken.
just as this ring is unbroken.
You may place the ring on Joshua's finger. Joshua and Kimberly will now perform a unity ceremony. Well, I can tell you the neck is strong. There were instructions being given back here that you guys could not hear. So she's taking Solomon to heart. Shall we bow our heads? Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you on this special day and ask your blessing upon the marriage of Kimberly and Joshua. We know the joining of a man and a woman together in marriage is holy, because on the sixth day of creation, you formed man out of dust and made him in your image with your own hands. You knew life would be fullest with an equal partner, and you made woman out of the rib of man, showing us that they are indeed one flesh. Kimberly and Joshua have an exciting life ahead of them. We ask that you guide them through their marriage and remind them that they are one team made up of two individuals with unique gifts that will make their marriage strong through thick and thin. We also ask that we, their family and friends, be willing to support them, sometimes directly when needed and always indirectly with prayer as they journey down this path of a love that never ends. With all these things, we ask in Jesus' name, amen. Now, are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Joshua, do you take Kimberly to be your wife? Do you promise to love her, comfort her, honor her, and keep her for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her as long as ye both shall live?
I do.
Kimberly, do you take Joshua to be your husband? Do you promise to love him, comfort him, honor him, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Well, by the power given to me and by some online company that I have no idea who they are, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. So one quick announcement. On behalf of Janine, Minsu, and Chris, we would like to invite you to the reception that follows in the rotunda. Please remain seated until after the recessional. And after Janine, Minsu, and Chris are out, you are welcome to go over to the rotunda and join the Anderson team celebration. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to Camelback and the world, via the web, Mr. and Mrs. Joshua Anderson. They are now one flesh, man and wife.